So will they have enough confidence to play that way against Brazil on Sunday? What do we think?
Well, I'm a bit interested in the difference between, or what the kind of football that Italian league produces normally. Malcolm, I'm going to ask you this, and there's a lot of talk now about English league football and what it's producing in its national 11.
Well, the Italian league's a very, very defensive league. And they've been playing very similar to this in their early games, even in these later games where they scored 8 goals. You know, everybody's raving about the Germany and Italian game when it was 4-3, but it was only because the teams collapsed. There was no resistance to and none of the goals, not many of the goals were very good goals.
I don't think people really understand this, because the moment we're getting fed with sort of quotes from Len Shipman saying that, why isn't English football like this? But as you say, there were specific reasons why it suddenly became an attacking game.
If English football was like Italian football, there'd be about 200 people at Manchester United versus Manchester City. It's terrible Italian football.
Yeah. Because they're so defensive.
Yeah, terribly defensive.
One shouldn't take any notice of what our administrators something come out and say. I mean, just because of certain things that happen on football fields. There's no doubt about this. If the Italians played in Mexico like they did in the first 3 games, they would have been on their way home. And I think it just thought it had to meet Mexico, that that this was very fortunate. They met a weak team. And as Malcolm said, that all the goals came in the 30 minutes period of extra time, which this was the best period of this 2-hour match. And if the Snellinger hadn't cut that equaliser, you wouldn't have had such a marvellous match. And he would say Italy would have lucky to scrape through. I mean, if the Brazilians hit their form on Sunday night, goodness knows what the score's going to be. I'm sure Paddy's got something.
Those were stinging newspaper reports, Paddy. I mean, much worse than ever our players have to have from Italy. Do you think that might have spurred the players on a bit?
Possibly. I don't know if players take the press too much to heart.
As a writer, ever had a go at you and it made an effect on you?
The best newspapers I've got are in my toilet. That's the best place for the majority of them anyway. But I can't imagine the Italians playing any other way but defensive. It's in their system. It's been their system now for so long, and you can't just get it out of your system for one game. I can't see them doing anything else but playing very tight against the Brazilians.
What about these 3 forwards, this Boninsegna, Dominguini, as well as Rivera? I mean, that's a fit. If we weren't sort of blinded by the Brazilians, I think that we might be talking about those 3.
But I think probably Rivera, to a great thing, is he's an individualist more than anything else. He's not really a team player like most of the Brazilian forwards are. The Brazilian forwards, they're great players, but they can play within the framework of their team. And I don't think Rivera's it's possible for him to do that.
You saw in that clip of film there that Rivera was outside his own penalty area, got the ball up and ran about 20 yards to suck a magnificent ball through for Rivera. I mean, I can't understand how this talented footballer Rivera only seems to come on in the second period of time. This is the most puzzling thing that I've come across in the World Cup.
Is it to do with this fact that there is space when the players begin to tire and they bring him on fresh to exploit that space, which he wouldn't get like the Brazilians? It took the Brazilians sort of a half, really, to wear Uruguay down.
I think the crunch will be, Jim, if they announce it on Sunday night and if Italy put him in from the off. This could be the possibility, but if Mazzola's in, then your observation will be correct. Playing Mazzola one half to burn himself out and then come in with Rivera.
I think possibly.
Are you two boys, you're a bit knocking the Italian side, not being all that complimentary. Are they lucky? Are they a lucky team?
Jim, I'm not knocking them at all, but one must understand, and Malcolm's quite rightly said, there's so much money, the £1 million transfers, there's £1,000 for winning games, all these astronomical sums. This brings more pressure, and people don't want to lose. People want to keep it tight at the back, and they're afraid, as Malcolm said, to come out. And they've got marvellous individuals.
The thing is with the Italians is that they very seldom play against an attacking side. But they get so used to in their system only playing against 1 and 2 forwards up the field that if you get players who can really play at the back and bypass their midfield players, you bypass 4 players with 1 pass. And if the Brazilians can do this and bypass their midfield players and getting out to the front players, then the Brazilians should play well.
Bob McNabb, he's got stuck on the end there again. Bob, give us that lovely smile and answer the question. The Italian defence, Malcolm was a bit rude about Facchetti. He said that he never tackles. What do you think of the Italian defence as such, however many players they use?
Well, they didn't have much to do in the qualifying matches, but when they scored 4 against Mexico, I don't consider Mexico a very good team, so that's there's nothing to go on that at all. And then the German match, for me, the only reason they got so many goals, both teams, was due to fatigue, which there was no midfield play in the end, towards the end of the game. It's just going up from one end to the other, and they got the lucky bounce of the ball at the end. But as for their defence, Facchetti. As an individual, I've not seen, like Malcolm says, I've not seen him make a tackle yet. Yeah. So, I think he's going to have a problem with Jairzinho because he'll have to tackle him.
I think, Jimmy, probably the reason why we're a bit annoyed about the Italians is probably they've got better individual players than any other country in Europe. and they don't use them. They don't use them. The system doesn't allow players to use their own.
We met a fellow last night, Paddy and I, you know, and he said, we said,
funny.
the Brazilians will win, you know. He said, the Brazilians, he said, they make coffee, he said, we make espresso.
And I'm not going to ask anybody to follow that and just pass it back to you, Brian.